now because I'm looking at the mothers of Olympians. I just want to know what it feels like to be in this moment. Kim, let me start with you.
It's totally amazing. It's surreal. So happy that Michaela finally did this and made her dream. It's awesome. We're so excited to be a part of this team. It's a great team.
Gina, you got an Olympic daughter. Come on. That's amazing.
Absolutely amazing, especially because, we've talked about this moment.
Wait. I need to pause. Nellie, wait, I want everyone to pause for a second and look behind Nellie. I see Biles and Childs. Biles and Childs. Biles and Ron. Hey, Ron, it's Olympic moms, babe. This is Olympic moms. Oh my God. Nellie, I know you've been down this beautiful road before, but how does it feel this time around?
It's still a surreal feeling. It's still hard to put in words and hard to describe just how proud I am. And I am sure I'm speaking for all the mothers too. It doesn't get old, so it's not as if, I've been there, done that. It just feels this time around even more special.
Hey, Sandy, your Grace is going to Tokyo. Your Grace is going to be competing for Team USA. Do you ever just sit with that for a second and say, like, wow, how did that happen?
Yeah, like a million times over, especially with everything she had to overcome this year to even have a shot at coming back. And this team is just full of such amazing talent. It's unbelievable.
Yang, your little girl, I know we talk a lot about your little girl's bond with her dad, but a mother-daughter bond is something that is all by itself. It is so unique. Did you ever imagine that you will be sitting here at the Olympics, you'll be able to watch your daughter compete for Team USA? What is it like to watch your daughter compete?
I'm very excited. I mean, it's kind of surreal, like everybody says, I just couldn't believe that she actually made it, like it is a dream of her and finally made it. We're just so excited and I'm so proud. So.
Yang, was she always jumping on furniture? Was Suni always like flying through the air?
Yeah, jumping. She's a pretty, she would flip and do around things, cartwheels everywhere in the house. Like I would take her to the park and she would be flipping up the park.
Flipping.
Too.
Yeah. Danielle, when your daughter was little, how did you know? How did you know that she wasn't going to be just someone who enjoyed gymnastics, but somebody who might be competing at this level?
I believe she was about 4 years old and her dad and I were watching TV and all of a sudden, whoop, there goes a cartwheel. And we looked at each other and I said, did you teach her that? And he said, no. Did you? And I said, no. And so I think we kind of knew at that point.
You knew in that minute that that there was something different about her.
Yes. Yeah.
And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go. Let's go. And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes, this is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
So, Kim, I want you to close your eyes for a second and describe yourself, what you feel like watching your daughter compete?
Well, can I open my eyes?
Yeah, you can open them.
Okay. I don't know. This time around was really difficult watching. It was just very, very stressful. But yet, you feel at times like you just want to walk out of the arena and not watch because it's just that stressful. But yet you don't want to miss it. And you just got to be there. And so you just sit there and you hope that they hit their routine. But it's really rough.
Well, I watched Gina move in the stands. Gina, you're moving with Jordan. You're like over here, now I'm over here. Like you're doing everything you can to stay in your seat. How nerve-wracking is it watching your daughter compete?
It's awful. I wish there was a way to support without physically having to watch it. I always say I wish I could just blink my eyes and then know the outcome, but the outcome be good. But yeah, it's been that way since she started as a little level 4, and it just never changed. And I try. Ron actually texted me because he watched me on TV like the following day, and he was like, Gina, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, I can't help it. It just, my body just reacts that way.
Well, you named her Jordan after Michael Jordan. So, I mean, she was destined, don't you think? She was destined for greatness.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's slightly embarrassing that that's kind of circulated, but it is absolutely the truth. I had waited for one kid to come forward, and my husband was like, okay, you can name her whatever you want. And I said, Jordan.
Jordan, it is. By the way, I love the Biles-Chiles thing, Nellie, and there they were connected. What is it? I mean, I watched them hug. I watched Simone support Jordan. I like the bond between them. Tell us about that.
I believe in the past 2 years, pretty much, Simone has embraced pretty much all the elite gymnasts that are now attending our gym. And as the time has progressed, and again, Jordan looks up to her and asks for advice, and Simone is there. I mean, we're not playing, this is for real. And Simone really pushes because she pushes herself. And I see her doing the same thing too with Jordan. And that bond has just, I mean, they fight, believe me, they do fight. and then we don't get in the way. I don't get in the way because the next minute, I mean, they're hugging each other. So you just know that that's a special relationship that they have. And I think the expectation for each of them is very high. Jordan expects a lot from Simone and vice versa. I think it's great.
I do too. Sandy, you're the mother of 6, am I right?
Yes, you are correct.
You got one in the back seat with you because you needed to go somewhere. I keep seeing.
I got rid of the other 2 that were with me, so it's only down to 1.
Well, I keep seeing a hand and a can of soda or something pop up.
Yeah,
or whatever.
He wants to be famous or something. I'm not sure.
Well, you had 6 kids. I'm sure people are looking at this widescreen and saying, "I want to raise an Olympian." Like, what was in the water? What did they do? So, Sandy, what did you do?
Honestly, we were just looking for an outlet for Grace because we found her one day trying to climb the brick on our fireplace, number one, and trying to figure out how to sit on top of the mantle. And she was a really shy kid. And so we were just looking for a way for her to get out and meet other people and not hang on her mom's leg all the time. And the minute she walked in the gym, she's like, I'm home. And her older sister was like, nope, not for me at all.
Wow. So Danielle, what would you say is the secret sauce to raising an Olympian?
Oh boy. Well, both her dad and I coach gymnastics, so we felt like it was important that we didn't force it on her in any way. So pretty much just letting her guide the ship and decide what she wanted to do and how far she wanted to take it.
I'm kind of bumming that we won't be able to be together at the Olympics. I mean, that is breaking my heart. And I was just thinking about you guys because you've been there for every meet. You've traveled all over the country and in some cases the world. And in this particular moment, you won't be able to be present in the arena to witness this moment. And Kim, I know it was a long time coming for Michaela, but how are you dealing with that?
Yeah, it's not fun. But my older daughter we're going to have a big viewing party the night that they do preliminaries and live stream it. It's going to be late. I think it's going to be like at 11 o'clock our time, but we're going to have a huge party and just get a bunch of people together and watch. So it'll be fun, but it's very disappointing not being able to go. I don't know. It's just, been interesting, but this whole COVID thing's been interesting. And for Michaela to even get where she's gotten has been amazing to us. So we're just proud that she made it.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate Let's go. And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go. Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
To find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Well, we're so proud of all of you guys. I mean, I'm looking at you and I'm seeing your little girls in your eyes right now, and it's totally blowing my mind. But since you can't be there to hold their hand in the arena, I know that you probably have a piece of advice for them. And maybe it's the same advice you've given them your whole life. I don't know. But if you just had a phrase or something for your little girl before she embarks in this moment, what would it be? Nellie, what would you say to Simone?
I definitely will tell Simone to be the best Simone. I mean, and she understands what that means. So whenever it's her turn to do whatever event, she needs to go out there and do her very best.
You know what's funny? She always says that she's calming you down.
But she is.
she texts you and says, "Mom, I'm good," and you're like, that's the way it works?
That's how it works, because I get very nervous before competition, and Simone really is the one that calms me down. I mean, we would FaceTime me and tell me, "Mom, I'm fine. I'm ready," and it's good to hear her say that. But she reassures me and calms me down, which is great.
I love that. Gina, what about advice for your little girl before she sets out?
You know, something we always tell her dad has a saying that he tells her every single time. And it really sounds like a little kid saying because we started it when she was little. But he said, "Do your best and forget the rest." And he tells her that every single time she goes out to compete and just in general life. And so we would tell her that, you know, do your best, forget everything else. You've earned this moment. You worked hard for this moment. So you might as well enjoy every aspect of this moment. We're so proud, not because you're an Olympian, but because you're Jordan, and we love you.
Oh, beautiful. Kim, again, for Michaela, long time coming. She just missed the team last year. I know this meant the world. In fact, when she made the team, and I remember that moment at trials, she's like, "Mom, I did it." Like, I thought that was so cool. She gave you some great words. What words do you have for her?
Our common saying is, "You got this." And just go out there and do your best. And when she did say that saying, I couldn't even hear it in the arena. I didn't notice that till like the next day I'm watching video and I hear that and I just cried several times because it meant so much to her to make this team. I mean, there were a lot of odds against her with everything she went through with the COVID, the pneumonia, and getting back to the point. And it just broke our heart. But anyway, we're so happy But yeah, just go out there and do it, Michaela. You got this.
I love that. Raise your hand if your daughter has had or has an injury from gymnastics.
Has had?
Everybody has. Every single person. And I mean, just the idea that she may have a hurt ankle or something may be bugging her. I can only imagine as a mother watching that, Yang, is extra difficult. And I know that your daughter, Suni, has been through a lot. You know, your husband was paralyzed from just a horrible fall. You've lost loved ones to COVID. And yet there she stands, back straight.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing that she actually made it this far. Yeah. With everything that is going on with, the family, with her injury, after injury. And I'm just super proud that she actually made it. It's still kind of like, wow, you actually made it, Yeah.
Yang, what advice do you guys give her before she competes?
Using my husband, we do a pep talk with her. She usually do that with us before she goes in competitions. And my husband pretty much gave her like the advice, but I usually just have her, go out there and have fun, Just do like you always practice, do like the way you practice, and just go out there and have fun. This is it, just have fun, enjoy, and do the best you can, because it is what it is. I mean,
beautiful.
She's great, yeah. So,
Sandy, what advice do you have for Grace?
Before every competition, I just tell her, go out and enjoy this moment. You work so hard to get here, and just enjoy the whole experience. Take it all in. Enjoy your teammates. Cheer for them. Be like the best cheerleader and the best supporter that you can. And go out there and compete for like an audience of one. Compete for God. Let it, just do it. Show people that you really love what you do, and just have fun.
Yeah, an audience of one. And actually, you're probably kind of right. There will be about an audience of one. Nellie, you've been down this road before. The other parents have not. Do you have any advice for these moms as they kind of walk into this moment?
I believe the best advice would be just to enjoy the moment and just be proud, because I mean, when you look at the amount of kids that have gone this far, our children are the ones that we are watching, that the entire world is watching. and we know that the only reason that they've gotten this far is because they've worked so hard. So just cherish this time and cherish the moment. And whatever the outcome, I always say, whatever the outcome, just be proud of that outcome.
Well, you guys are incredible. I can tell why each and every one of your daughters is going to be on the world stage. They've earned it, and they've had support that I can see it pouring out of you. It's as if you're doing it. So I just want to say, go Team USA.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
To find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
All right, guys, first of all, congratulations. We have one former Olympian, and now all you guys are current Olympians. How are you feeling today, Michaela?
I'm feeling great.
This
is like so unreal.
Are you kind of freaking out?
I'm freaking out inside, yes. So crazy. I've been waiting for this moment forever.
Raise your hand if you're freaking out. Simone, you too?
Yeah, I mean, it's so real. It's been a long journey, and me and Michaela have kind of been on it together, so I'm just happy that we're on the same team and we get to go over there and show what we have.
Simone, I know you, and I've known you for a long time, and I love you dearly and deeply. When I see your emotions on display, I feel you.
Yeah.
I felt you today. I felt you strong. I felt you strong when you were kind of hurting, and I felt you strong when you were feeling it. Just describe how you're feeling this time around.
A little bit more tired this time around. I'm a little bit older, so I get tired quicker. I was really happy, but I was just sad because everybody came out here to watch us, and I didn't give them my best performance. But at the end of the day, it is what it is.
It is what it is. We watched you on the floor, okay? Did you see what happened after your floor routine?
Yeah, they gave me a standing ovation. That was pretty crazy.
The standing O didn't stop.
Yeah.
It kept going and going and going.
It was
and
very sweet.
So how is this one different for you?
I don't know. I feel like going into Rio, I was kind of a kid, didn't really know too much, which there's beauty in going in something blindsided, but now, like, I'm an adult, I know who I am, and I know what my gymnastics brings, so it's just different.
I'm not sure if you were happier when you nailed a landing as you were when your girl, Jordan, made the team.
Yeah.
That hug?
Make me cry again. She worked so hard, and she deserves it, and I'm just happy she got to go out there this whole entire year and prove what she's capable of.
Jordan.
Yes.
You're going to the Olympic Games. You, my friend, are an Olympian. Simone Biles wrapped her arms around you in that moment, and I just thought you were never going to let go. Tell me what it felt like to know you made that team.
It was honestly the most amazing feeling of my life. I already at the beginning was kind of tearing up, but I didn't know what the outcome was going to be, so I just wanted to go out there and really show everybody who I am as a person, and having her by my side 24/7 and giving me encouraging words every day definitely helped, and it was very motivational. I'm very happy to have someone like her.
Y'all are cute. Miles and Childs. Does everyone make the joke? Is that part of it? Michaela, you had a tough year, boy. I mean, I know that you went through a lot. I know you had COVID. I know you were hospitalized. I know that you wondered, like, am I ever going to get back to my performing best? Look at you.
I know. I survived. But yeah, it was, I mean, I wanted to give up so many times. I was like, I don't even know if I can do this anymore, but I feel like just having these girls in my family, having my back through it all has really helped me get to where I am
Who's
today,
the oldest one? Is it Simone or is it you?
It's me.
Wait.
Michaela's me by 3 months.
Yeah.
So you're both 24, you're 3 months older. So you no longer have the elder statesman title. Grandma has gone over there.
I feel like we both share. It's like 50-50.
Yeah?
Totally.
Well, you all do kind of care for the other members of your team.
Yeah, of course.
And what do you get out of that, Simone?
We get our youth back. I mean, they keep us going, especially in those workouts in the gym. And we've had such hard times, but seeing the younger ones come up, it's been motivational.
Suni. Oh, Suni, I'm so happy for you.
Thank
I can't
you.
tell you. It just meant the world to me to watch you perform. And I wasn't sure if I was more emotional watching you or watching your dad up there. Did you feel him?
I did. It took me a minute to realize that I was going to the Olympics, but I looked up there and I knew that he was very emotional, and so was the rest of my family.
Well, I loved in one of your interviews you said you didn't describe it as your dream, you said it was our dream.
Yeah. This has been our dream for the longest, basically since I was a baby. He's been by my side through everything, and he's gone to all my competitions with me, so to have him here at the Olympic trials with me is something that was so amazing, especially because they can't go to the actual Olympics, which really sucks, but...
It really does suck. You're bumming about your parents not being able to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the last they're going to see of you until you get your medals, right?
Yeah.
Until you come home with your medals.
Go
I feel
out
like
there.
there's a lightness with you guys that I remember it in Rio, but it feels even a little lighter. Like, I don't know.
Definitely.
It's like everyone seems to really want to have fun. And is that what you're feeling, Michaela, too?
I mean, especially coming from college, that's all we did. And so it's kind of been fun to see that more, especially since, Marta's been gone and with the new generation. And I feel like we're just really enjoying our gymnastics. Which is
Come on,
awesome.
Jade. Jade's going to the Olympics. Oh my gosh, has that just sunk in? I mean, your dad's coaching you. You're going to the Olympic Games.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm really glad that I have my dad to share it with. He's been my coach for the longest time, and I'm just really happy that we're going to be there together.
That is true. So your dad's going to be, is that your dad the only parent who's going to be there? Yeah, right, because he's coaching.
so.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, your dad's going to have to share and help out with everybody. So how are you guys going to, like, make sure that you're straight when it comes time for competition? Because we all have our posse, our group. I would imagine, Simone, that the group's going to rely on each other even more than before.
Yeah. Of course, and we'll have so many repetitions. And I remember in Rio, it was like you did so many, you almost can't mess up at that point. So I'm not worried. Once we get over there, we're set. I mean, this is just the beginning of our journey.
Michaela, this dream, some dreams take a long time. Some happen overnight, and some take a while, but as they always say, your dream is right on time. So as you venture out and you realize that you're about to step into a big dream, how will you sleep tonight? What will you be thinking about?
I don't think I'll be sleeping. I'm just supposed to have to get up super early, so probably no sleep. But, even after last Olympics, being so close to it, I'm really glad that I never gave up my dream and I kept going and have pushed myself to come back for this Olympics, and it was definitely worth it, and it paid off. And even to be here with Simone again, being like the grandmas of the team, I think it's definitely helped push us as well, too. Because with the younger ones, it is true, you're older, your gymnastics better, but it's harder the older you get. So these young ones have definitely pushed our buttons a little bit. It's crazy to have my dreams finally come true.
Well,
so.
I can't tell you how happy I am for you guys. And to do it in this arena, it was a sellout. They say that it may have been the biggest Olympic trial crowd ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it felt like being at a concert. I mean, it was wild. So when we get to the Olympics, it's not going to be like that. You're not going to have that. Right. Do you think it will affect how you perform, Simone?
Personally, I thrive under pressure, so I'm a little bit worried how it's going to affect me once we get over there.
All right. You guys have any other thoughts as you head off to the Olympic Games in Tokyo?
I think they're just
I'm
ready to
celebrate. I think I blacked out. I don't know.
You blacked out?
Kind of speechless.
You're speechless. Well, and how do you? I know not everybody got to be sitting in these chairs. Is it kind of a bummer when you see your fellow teammates who didn't make the team?
I mean, it's the hardest team to make in the world, so we're all proud of everybody that even made it this far. How many people can say they went to Olympic trials? So, I mean, we're just proud of our teammates.
Oh my God, your lives changed. Just like that. Just like that. Jordan, just like that.
Just like
Are you really named after Michael Jordan?
I am.
Okay, I just had to confirm. I don't know, I thought it was a rumor. I wasn't sure.
I am. My mom had a big obsession over him, and with everything that she was going through, my dad finally said she could name a child after her famous basketball player, so that was me.
Well, Chick and the rest of you guys.
Gosh.
Oh, I know your nickname too. You guys, we are going to be cheering you on. You may not have your moms and your dads and your friends, but you'll have us. So look for me. I will be cheering you on all the way. Go get them!
Welcome to Today All Day.
All day?
Today, all day.
All
day.
This is a long way of asking who's your favorite character you've ever played?
The unicorn. The unicorn. You gotta have the unicorn.
What is she right there? That's why you're saying all these nice things?
Yeah, she gave me the look. Sorry to disturb your day. Everyone's mad at you, Willie.
Better make this fast. I don't want the wrath of Luna.
When I see you, I always think, I wonder what his quote would be.
Give us 6 minutes and we'll ask as many questions as we can.
Welcome to Cold Cuts.
Cold cut, cold cut.
My buddy Cal cooking with me.
Dads don't babysit. It's called parenting.
What was the first book you remember loving?
Heart Smart Today, with simple exercises to strengthen your heart. Make the most of your beach days.
It's all about the tracksuit now. How good do they look?
I now pronounce you husband and wife. Kiss the bride.
This morning, a story of people helping people.
You've received tons of letters from people who have been inspired.
Let's do the weather out. Okay. All you gotta do is say, it's cold, it's warm, it's raining, it's snowing. That's it.
One of our most favorite franchises ever, Ambush Makeovers.
Okay.
Look at it. It doesn't look so good.
No, it doesn't look good.
Will you judge us in a cook-off?
I will, and you guys will definitely win something.
Today, all day.
All day?
All day.
Welcome to Today All Day.
Hello, today all day. Summer's almost here, and if you're looking for the perfect way to welcome warmer weather, my pal Anthony Contrino is sharing his favorite al fresco meal. Not al roca, but al fresco. We're talking juicy pork milanese, peppery arugula salad, an easy antipasti, along with Uncle Pasti, with olives, and of course, a classic Italian cocktail to wash it all down.
Summer is just around the corner. It's not one of my favorite seasons, but my birthday's in there, so I'll allow it. Anyway, it is gonna be really nice to be able to dine outside with friends. So today I'm whipping up the perfect al fresco meal. I'll be making delicious orange rosemary marinated olives, the juiciest, crispiest pork milanese that you've ever had, topped with a nice fresh salad. And then of course, we need a cocktail, or two. I'll be making a Negroni and an Americano. Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. Welcome to the new set of Saucy. Let's get cooking. I'm gonna be making some delicious orange rosemary marinated olives. We love olives in my family. We have them out for every holiday as part of an antipasti. I'm gonna be using orange and rosemary because those are two flavors that I like and that work really well together. So first things first, I have two different kinds of olives. My favorite, Castelvetrano, which are super buttery, and then a little bit more of a pungent flavor with Kalamata olives. I like the two to balance off each other, and they're really pretty when mixed up together later on. For the marinade itself, we'll start by adding some oil. It's about 1/3 of a cup. You can eyeball this into a small saucepan. So first things first, an orange. Any sweet orange will do. This is a plain navel orange, and I'm just cutting a few strips off. Then I like to go back with a knife and carefully, don't hurt yourself here, similar to like filleting fish, remove the bitter pith. We don't need any bitter flavor in our marinade over here. So you can see all the white part is gone and you're left with just the beautiful, super fragrant skin. Right into the pot that goes. Take your time. Better off being safe than sorry with this. And the last one into the pot. Don't want this orange to go to waste. So I'm gonna take that sweet, delicious juice and we'll add that to the pot as well. That'll add a little bit of sweetness to our olives. Next up, garlic. Why does this happen every time? 6 takes later, I'm gonna grab 2 cloves. You can buy them peeled already, which will save on the aggravation. Okay, so just thin slice, 1/8 of an inch, even thinner if you can, without hurting yourself. Into our pot. Then let's add some more flavor. A bay leaf. I'm gonna add a pinch of red pepper flakes. I'm not a big spice person, so I literally just add a tiny little pinch. Last but not least, some fresh rosemary. So I'm gonna cut off a couple of sprigs here and pull off about half of the leaves or just kind of break them. I just like the way it looks when it's in there. It's still gonna permeate that oil. So I'm literally just waiting for the edges to just sort of start to simmer as I'm doing this. It'll go pretty quickly. We're not looking to cook, we're looking to infuse. You'll know it's done when it gets nice and fragrant. Similar when you add garlic and onion to like a saute pan, and it's getting there, smelling really good already. So you can see it's starting to simmer a little bit. So I'm gonna cut the heat and then simply just pour it right on top of our olives. Make sure you get all of this flavor. Leave no speck of garlic or rosemary behind. Okay, now I'm gonna let this sit out at room temperature for a couple of hours. So every now and then, every time you pass it, just pick it up, Give it a tossy turn, zhuzh it up. Get those olives coated nice with that oil to help marinate it, and give those olives some time to steep.
I'm rolling up my sleeves for science, so I'll survive if I contract this virus. For family dinners, family vacations, family anything. For traveling somewhere beyond my living room. And for the Rebels, there is no greater feeling than being in the stadium and cheering on Ole Miss. And now it's your turn. Roll up your sleeves, America. Plan your vaccine, because every shot counts. Visit planyourvaccine.com and make your plan.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
If there's one thing that I can eat for dinner every night, it's pork milanese, or any milanese. Chicken, anything, pound it thin, fry it crispy, I'm gonna eat it. I'd probably even enjoy shoe leather if it was fried. So right here I have, from my butcher, you can get these at most supermarkets, some nice, beautiful, thick pork loin chops that are boneless. I'm gonna pound them nice and thin so that every inch of this milanese is absurdly crispy. Get yourself a generous sized sheet of plastic wrap. And this is where the fun begins, guys. This may look a little scary, but I promise you it's not. We're going to butterfly these chops. So, I'm gonna place a chop on the plastic wrap, taking a really sharp chef knife. I'm going to find the center, and I'm gonna cut it open like a book. Work slowly, deliberate, steady slices. And this is just to help get it nice and thin. And I'm just slowly going to start peeling it open. And there you go. If you skip this step and just start pounding, you're gonna be there all day and your meat's not gonna be as tender. So truly don't skip that step. Be sure to leave a little slack around so that our chop has room to grow. Get yourself one of these fun toys and go to town. Watch your fingers, don't do what I almost just did. There you have it. It's about 1/4 inch thick, and we have a gorgeous big cutlet now that is for one person. Keep going. Did your kids or your boss piss you off today? This is the perfect meal to make at the end of the day. This one's even better. You can do this with chicken breast. I love it with chicken. You can do it with beef. If you don't have time to go to the gym, this is the perfect activity for you. what it feels like to exercise. One to go. That looks great. As easy as that. I am going to wipe down, sanitize, clean my hands, and then we're going to dredge these guys up. Okay, now that that's set up, let's start getting these bad boys breaded. So, free them from the plastic wrap. Look how great that looks. Nice and thin. And when cooking, you want to make sure you're seasoning in layers. You never want to just finish with salt because it's just sitting on top and doesn't have time to absorb. Also, when cooking, you want to do all of one action at once. It keeps things neater, it's quicker. This is the bulk of the seasoning, so don't be cheap. And get both sides. The last one's always the annoying one, isn't it? Perfect. Now to begin breading. You may notice that there's something here missing, flour. Growing up, whenever my dad made chicken cutlets or milanese, he never used flour. And when I went to culinary school, I was like, what's with the flour? And I've tested it both ways. In this case, it is an extra ingredient, an extra step, and I find it to be completely unnecessary. It actually coats better to this pork if you don't use flour. So while you're probably thinking I don't know what I'm talking about, I would curse here, but I'm not allowed to anymore. I definitely do. So this is my dredging station. 3 very well beaten eggs and 2 cups of seasoned breadcrumb. Another trick, wet hand, dry hand. So in she goes. Make sure we're nice and well coated. You can see how great a pie dish works for this. It fits well, it has a flat enough surface, and it has sides to keep everything in place. Give it a couple of shakes and right into our breadcrumb. Now, use your dry hand to start covering it with the breadcrumb. When you get to this point, you can flip it. Make sure you don't miss a millimeter of breadcrumb. Every crevice, breadcrumb, and press it in. We want these to be well coated and super duper crispy. Just like that. And that's ready to be fried. Make sure you press it on, lock it in there. Isn't that cool? This is kind of a fun thing to get the kids involved in too. Put them to work. Dinner was not for free at my house growing up. Thank God I did most of the cooking. My mom's cooking's atrocious. That's a big one. Time to fry them up. I've added about 1/4 of an inch of vegetable oil to a pot. When frying, I like to use a neutral oil like safflower, canola, any vegetable oil because it won't take on any flavor. Have this going over medium-high heat, and I know it's ready when I add a pinch of breadcrumb and we get some sizzle action. So you see how it foamed up and it already started darkening? Time to add one of our cutlets. We're gonna let this fry for about 2 to 3 minutes per side until it's deep, golden, gorgeous brown. Keep an eye on the edges of your cutlet. I can see it already starting to get nice and golden brown in that little nook, which means it's almost ready to flip. I'm gonna take a sneak peek. Almost there. For me, any cutlet should be on the brink of being burnt for it to be delicious. Now just another couple of minutes. Oh yeah. Transfer it to a wire rack. If you put it on paper towels, it's gonna get a little soggy and the breading is gonna start to fall off. Get another one in really quick. And then, while it's still hot, add a nice, generous amount of a flaky sea salt. You can see it melting into that hot oil. Some of it won't melt. It'll add a little bit of an extra crunch and extra seasoning. These cutlets are gonna cook really quickly, so keep an eye on the pan. This is not the time to walk away and start another project. Oh my God. Extra crispy for the chef. I have my oven set to the lowest setting. I'm gonna throw these in there to keep them warm. I don't wanna keep them in there too long though, just long enough to make a delicious salad.
I'm rolling up my sleeves for science, so I'll survive if I contract this virus. For family dinners, family vacations, family anything. For traveling somewhere beyond my living room. And for the Rebels, there is no greater feeling than being in the stadium and cheering on Ole Miss. And now it's your turn. Roll up your sleeves, America. Plan your vaccine, because every shot counts. Visit planyourvaccine.com and make your plan.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
To find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
To find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
This peppery arugula is the base of my salad, but any good salad needs a killer dressing, and this is mine, my white balsamic dressing. Going to start by adding a couple of tablespoons of just plain old clover honey. This bougie thing looks like a lot of fun, but it's a little messy. This is gonna add just enough sweetness, some Dijon, which is gonna add more depth of flavor. It's also going to help emulsify this dressing when we add the oil. Get that all in there. A little bit of salt, about a half a teaspoon. And then about an eighth of a teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper. Gonna whisk this to combine. Make sure you get that honey to dissolve. That looks beautiful. Now that the base of our dressing's ready, I'm going to drizzle in olive oil. Very slowly begin to drizzle in your olive oil, giving it time to break up the fat molecules and emulsify. If you can see the oil puddling in the vinegar, that means you're adding too much and it's going to not emulsify properly. I did not sign up for this much cardio today. You can see it already starting to thicken. That means that we have a great emulsification. It's a beautiful dressing. Great golden color from the white balsamic and this really good Sicilian olive oil. Gorgeous, gorgeous. It's perfect. It doesn't need any more seasoning. This is a very simple salad. All I'm going to add to this arugula are some beautiful cherry tomatoes that I'm just gonna have. If you don't have a small utility knife like this, a nice serrated knife, it's a really great kitchen tool. I use it a lot. I'm gonna give this a quick toss. And then add your dressing to taste. This makes more than you need for this, but it stores really well in the fridge in a mason jar or just any sealed container for at least a week. It's all set. All that's left to do is to put the two pieces of the puzzle together. It smells so good. Okay. These are nice and warm. Let's go with this big guy. Just throw that right onto a plate and then don't be cheap. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Then, because God forbid I cook something and not put cheese on it, how delicious does this look? I cannot wait to dig in. And I'm kind of thirsty. I think I need to make a cocktail.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go. Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
I'm going to show you how to make probably the most quintessential Italian aperitivo, which is a pre-meal drink, something meant to whet your appetite. And this bitter Campari is going to do just that. That is one of the 3 major components in this Negroni. This drink is equal parts Campari, sweet vermouth, and gin, and it is going to punch you in the face. So I'm doing 1.25 ounces each of these 3 spirits. This is our sweet vermouth to balance that bitterness just the slightest bit. And we can't forget about the gin. This is a London dry gin that I'm using. Then some blood orange. I like to peel it directly into my beaker to catch any oils that come out. And I'm just going to peel off a nice healthy strip. Add some ice. We want to get this nice and chilled. It's also going to dilute this the slightest bit and stir, stir, stir. At least 20 seconds. Really let those flavors combine and let it chill throughout. Perfect. Get yourself some bougie ice. So pretty. Then, every cocktail needs a garnish. Another strip of our blood orange skin. Give it a little twist. And then I kind of like to run it on the rim just to get those oils on there. Little extra hint and punch of the orange. Now, if you feel like this is a little too bitter for your palate, we're gonna make its less aggressive cousin, the Americano, which is pretty similar. We're gonna start the same way with our Campari, using 1.5 ounces this time. And then the sweet vermouth. No gin in this one, so it's not gonna be quite as boozy. Perfect. Same thing. And stir, stir, stir. More bougie ice. Isn't that such a beautiful color? Then, finally, we'll top it off with club soda. How beautiful, that effervescence. Don't forget about our little garnish. One little straw. There you have it, the perfect Negroni and Americano. Can't wait to share these with my friends. Here's a pretty color. And a little twist.
Thank you.
You stir. It like dilutes it a little. Welcome.
Looks delicious. Beautiful.
Some pork milanese.
Nice. Thank you, Anthony.
You're welcome.
Yul Yul, thank you so much. This is a really exciting time, but it's been a crazy year, right? Like, 2020 was nuts.
Yeah.
Just can you talk about like what kind of challenges you had to balance in order to get the training that you need to compete in the Olympics with everything going on?
Yeah, so from the start, actually, in March when everything shut down, you're 3 months away from Olympic trials, so it's really like what we're feeling now, but it got shut down, and then you kind of have to take like a mental break and think like, what's next? How am I going to prepare for a whole nother year? Because 360 days is a long time of going in every single day, training 6 hours a day. So for me, I really had to take a mental break, and we found out that all the gyms were closed. So the next step that I took is I called Mark Williams, the OU coach at the time, can I get a horse in my garage? And for about 3 months, I had a horse. I went to Home Depot and I bought eye hooks and drilled them into my ceiling and got these Amazon rings and did ring strength. And then I actually got Air Track to send me a mat so I could tumble. So,
all in your home or outside?
All in my home. Every day we'd blow up the air mattress, do tumbling, deflate it, put it back in the garage. So, it was hard because some days it would be raining, some days it would be really cold. So you would be in your garage freezing. I remember we bought space heaters just to warm it up, just so we could get something productive done, because gymnastics, you take 1 day off, it takes 2 days to come back. Yeah.
You have to compete almost on a daily basis. Did you feel like it took a step off of your game? Are you worried that you lost something in all you had to do to try to get back?
In the beginning, yes, definitely. You're not going into the gym, you're not getting coached. This is all self-workouts at the home. And, when I finally got into a gym in Oklahoma, it was an hour drive there, hour drive back during rush hour time. So it was awful, honestly. It was probably some of the hardest training months of my life, because I knew that's what it was going to take. It was going to take 7 hours a day of training and feeling like you can't get up the next morning. And when I finally felt good and felt like my strength was back, I just remember literally a month ago, I was just thinking about this. I was thinking like, wow, like I can't believe that I'm like finally here and I'm feeling good.
You grew up in Colorado. What was the experience like of just being a kid here and training here, but also just being a person in Colorado?
Growing up, I feel like Colorado just had everything that I needed to, build the puzzle of my life, of, helping me in my journey of gymnastics, my school, my social life, and the car scene here is great.
The car scene, you're big into that.
Yeah.
What about more specifically growing up on a farm? That's an experience a lot of people don't have. What do you think that was like, and what did it teach you?
Oh, so many lessons. Growing up on a farm as a kid, you don't know anything else. You don't really know the city. You don't know public schools. So for me, I just thought that, this was my house. I've got a bunch of land to ride my bike and play with my Legos on and, just mess around. And I remember, doing the chores, you had to do them. It's not like you could just take 1 day off, else then your animals don't get fed. But it just teaches you so many responsibilities, and it teaches you, how to kind of work as a team. Our family had to do stuff together, and so it kind of teaches you teamwork, again, responsibility.
The diligence, the hard work, the waking up early, the routines. You think it's prepared you for a life of competition as well?
Oh yeah, and actually, the routine part is a huge part. Every day, wake up, feed the animals, get your homework done, go outside and help, whatever job we have, the irrigation or something like that. So definitely the routine part helped me, because when I get to a gym, it doesn't feel anything different than if I'm at home. And I think that's helped me my entire career, is just having a routine and understanding that, that job has to get done that day in order to, get ready for the next day.
Yeah. And in family life, how was that? Your sisters, your brother, were they encouraging early on when you were showing like an aptitude in gymnastics?
Oh yeah, and my family has been way more supportive than I think any other family would. As kids, you have the fights, but you also have that love for each other. And I remember, just moving to Denver, my family had to make a huge sacrifice. They had to switch schools, switch, friends, kind of be on the same schedule as I am, because, none of us could drive. So my mom would have to pack us all in the car take me and my brother to gym, drop my sisters off at school, come pick me and my brother back up, feed us, go home, drop us off, run back to school, pick up my sisters, take my sister to rock climbing class or my sister to, a musical class, and then pick up my brother and I, feed us. So it was a routine. And then, my dad would, have to be the one to go to every travel meet and, get the hotel ready, get the rental car, make sure the hotel had a kitchen, or we bring like a little stove because we're gluten-free. And, that was part of, my nutrition was not eating wheat, because my family was allergic, I was probably allergic. So there were just so many extra things that my family had to do for me, for meets, practice, school. So, I can't think of enough.
Yeah. What does it mean to you that they were there for everything? And you said your dad, you said he brought a stove, like a little stove?
Yeah,
something?
just, sometimes like a camping stove.
Wow.
And he'd make me food on there because, we'd have to go to a store. We couldn't go out and eat. There's wheat and everything now, or at the time there was. But
what does his time with you mean?
Oh, everything. I can hear his voice when he's cheering for me. Sorry.
It's okay.
Honestly, though, this family, knowing that I've been adopted, it's just like, I wouldn't want another family at all. Like, this family is perfect for my journey and who I am.
Were there difficult discussions when you were a kid about your background? How much did they explain to you about where you came from and your mom?
They were so open about it. And, I think they just wanted me to understand as soon as I could understand that I was adopted. But, I don't look at it as like adoption. I look at it as like a second chance. And they have been very open about it. They haven't tried to hide anything. And they just wanted me to understand, the life that I'm in, because it's an opportunity. It's a huge opportunity just to come from, South Korea, where my life could have been not the same at all, not even close. And to come to the US, to have a family so open about, just a kid trying to chase his dreams, it's meant the world to me. And to know that my parents have my back and my family has my back, and that they're supportive and that they're open, that's hard to find.
Was there any difficulty in the fact that, your family looks white, you look Asian? Was it tough at school at all to deal with that? What kind of difficulties arose from that?
Honestly, the only times that I felt uncomfortable is when I was a kid, because I viewed my mom and dad, we're the same. I don't care if I'm tan or if I have black hair, these are my parents. The only thing that would bother me a little bit when I was a kid is sometimes at the cash register, the lady would be like, "Is he yours?" And I would wonder, why is she asking that? But, as I grew up, I understand it. It probably wasn't out of, hate or anything. It was just a curious question. But, I've never had a problem. Maybe just being Asian, yeah, there are other things that come with that, but being adopted, never.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I know you had an incident not too long ago.
Yeah.
Take me back to that day, where you were, what you were doing,
Yeah, so
and how it affected you.
It was actually, a couple or maybe a few months ago.
Yeah.
I was driving on Wadsworth, just coming home after morning practice, and this lady, wanted to get in my lane, so I honked the horn, and at the red light, she rolled down your window and she said, "Go back to China." And at the time, I was just so confused, and I was just like, for me, I was just like, lady, if you knew my job every day to work hard so I can represent this country, it's just like shocking to me that she didn't even know who I was or what I do for this country. And for her to say that because of what I look like, it's just, it's frustrating, because if people were just a little more educated, if people just didn't speak out of, hate and actually just like thought about what they were going to say, we wouldn't have to go through these awkward, uncomfortable times.
Yeah. Does it make it harder to think that you know, I'm doing it for this lady too, I'm doing it for everybody. How much more difficult does it give you a sense of bitterness at all, knowing that you're training to represent the United States and there's all this hate in the country right now?
It is uncomfortable, you know, knowing that there are people like that you do have to represent, because, you know, when we went to international meets, you get in the taxi and they would just be like, oh, America's so bad, like, you guys don't do right. And it just sucks because there are so many great people here too, though. And that's what makes my job easy, is I'm not representing, you know, those kind of people. I'm representing the good people, you know, the good-hearted people, my friends, my family, my coaches, you know, everyone that's just a positive person. And that, I think, outweighs the negatives.
Let's go. And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go. And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.
I'm rolling up my sleeves for science, so I'll survive if I can track this virus. For family dinners, family vacations, family anything. For traveling somewhere beyond my living room. And for the Rebels, there is no greater feeling than being in the stadium and cheering on Ole Miss. And now it's your turn. Roll up your sleeves, America. Plan your vaccine, because every shot counts. Visit planyourvaccine.com and make your plan.
Your parents, I think, described you almost as like aggressively positive, like this like super ball of positive energy. How do you keep that up? I mean, and do you think that helps you be a better competitor? Where does that come from?
It's just, so I like to reflect on my life, you know, at times a lot throughout the year. And for me, I have nothing to be negative about. You know, from the day one, I've been given a life that is so meaningful, and I'm so blessed to be. And then I have friends, I have family, I have a roof over my head, I'm never hungry. And when you can take that aspect of life and really understand that I have the things that are making me happy, I feel like there's nothing to worry about. You know, yes, you'll need money, you'll need a job, but that shouldn't be your number one priority. It should be being happy, living your day like it's your last, honestly. You just never know.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I imagine part of that outlook comes from your parents and your dad. Like, was he like a typical gym dad?
No.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. You know, the gymnastics world, you know, parents, they push their kids a lot. My dad and my mom, you know, they just said, make sure you're happy, you're having fun. You know, of course, there are some times where they do step in as a parent. Do we need to move gyms? Are you happy with this coach? And those are good questions. It's never, make sure you get first. Make sure you make this. Make sure you get this at state. So for me, this was my sport. You know, this was what I chose. It wasn't them. It wasn't them pushing me. It was just like, do you still love gymnastics? Yes. Do you still love gymnastics? Yes. And they ask me that all the time. Do you still love gymnastics? I say yes. Because their influence has been so easygoing. You know, I see parents all the time push and push. I'm like, just relax a little bit. Like, you have to let this kid be on his own journey. And I think they did that perfectly, you know, better than any parent could.
Yeah. I think your dad was telling us like how coachable you are, how well you take instruction, how well you're able to challenge yourself and really like, you know, turn up for big events. Where does that come from? But also like, take me to the process of an athlete on your level challenging themselves and like what is your mental like to be able to compete at a level like this? This is insane.
So for me, going into a competition, just for example, I don't go into it thinking I have a competition. not one bit. I honestly go in thinking this is show. This is a showtime. This is an episode 1, 2, or 3, you name it. But for me, it's like we've worked so hard in the gym and you get to go out in front of thousands of people. Why not have fun? Why not enjoy it and make it a show? Like, this is your time. This is Team USA's time to really show what we have. And I think when you can look at it in that perspective, instead of thinking, oh, there are judges, it's competition, I need to do well, because that adds stress. And when you can look at it, it's a fun factor. There's going to be so many people there that I get to perform in front of. There's these judges that have been watching me. Let's see if I've improved. Let's see if I can prove to them that I've been taking their corrections. And, that's just helped me get through competitions. But, I learned this at OU, embrace the grind.
If you had to ask Vlad or your parents, your dad, your mom, your sisters, your brothers, if it's more natural talent or if it's more hard work, how would they describe you? Or is that like a bad question to ask in general? I mean, I know it's a combination of both, but do you feel like you've pulled more from one pool or the other?
I don't know what they would say because, a lot of people do say I'm talented, but I also try and make sure that I put in the work. So people don't just say, oh, he's talented. Like, I want people to know that Yul might be talented, but he also works hard. And I think that is way better sounding than just saying, oh, Yul's talented, than if you said, yeah, Yul's hardworking. That is a different perspective. I don't know what they would say, but, Irina was just joking with me the other day, and I was doing these shoulder exercises, and my shoulder was not flexible, and she just kind of joked. She's like, I don't know how you are a gymnast. And so it's just kind of like, it's funny because you kind of get to see both sides of, working hard, and then you get to see, all these young kids in the gym that are just talented, but they work so hard. So I think maybe a little bit of both. It is kind of a tough question.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like, really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
To find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
You're already a champion, NCAA, U.S. World. Like, do these things enter into your preparation for being an Olympian? I mean, and does your thought process change knowing that this is the biggest stage possible?
For me, I'm ready. Like, I have dreamed about this for so long. I feel like I was so close in 2016 when I was, young, going to trials, got fifth, did pretty well. And I got a little bit of taste of what it'd be like to be at the Olympics. But, going through the NCAA, it prepped me just to know, what I need to think about at a meet for that day. And then going to Worlds, that just brings a whole different experience. You get to see the best gymnasts in the world all on the same floor. And for me, that's exciting because I got to watch these guys on YouTube, TV, and I was like, I want to be there one day. And now that I'm finally here, it's not, yeah, I'm here, I'm relaxed. It's like, it's go time. Like, this is like what I've been working for. I want to show people like who I am. And, you know, a lot of people might get nervous because, oh, it's your first Worlds. It might be your first Olympics. You know, you only get one try in 4 years, but you got to forget about all that stuff. You can't be thinking about that stuff. You know, this is you here. You made it. You got to where you wanted to be. So why stress on something that doesn't even, you know, matter? Those are just words. What you can control is your body, your job, your gymnastics. So, you know, yes, it does help, but you know, I remember my first Worlds, and a lot of people say, you're going to get nervous. There's a lot of people there. You know, it's going to feel a lot different. And I just remember going in there and I looked at the crowd and I was like, I have been dreaming of this moment my entire life. I've wanted to compete in front of, you know, not just 10,000 people, but, you know, 30 to 60,000 people. And that is like, yes, I finally get to feel like what a football player feels, you know? So for me, it's like these dreams are coming together finally, and it's like these dreams are becoming a reality. So for me, I don't try and think about, you know, it's my first one, or you only get one try in 4 years. You know, no, this is the time. This is your dream. Let's go.
You love this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, sports in general, it's all about who's mentally toughest.
Yeah.
You know, think about football. Everyone gets, you know, pretty strong, almost the same speed. Yeah, you know, you can throw a football, catch it, but it's what you're going to tell yourself before entering the game.
What are your Olympic aspirations? What do you think? How far do you think you can go?
So for me, I want to go to at least 3 or 4 Olympics. I definitely want to go till 2028 because that is in Los Angeles. And I think it'd be pretty cool to say you got to retire in the US. But, you know, my number one goal is to win an Olympic medal as a team, because there's no greater feeling than looking to your left, to your right, and looking at your teammates and knowing, like, we just did something special together. Not individually, but together. You know, individual, I know if I do well as a team, you know, those individual awards will count. You know, of course, I want to get it all around and some individual events, but my priority is for the team, because it is an amazing feeling winning as a team.
Do you think you guys can get a medal this year? And do you listen to the analysts? Do you listen to people that tell you what your chances are and all of that, or do you tune in all of that out?
You know, I do read it. I do pay attention, but to me, it's just funny because gymnastics is a sport where anything can happen. Yeah. You have to fight from your first routine on the first event, no matter how well you do in between or on the first event, till your last event, because gymnastics is one of those sports that literally anything can happen. And I remember, you know, at American Cup in 2019, I think I was like behind, like the whole entire meet, but I told myself I'm going to army crawl till the last event. I know that I can hit all these events. I just got to do them well and keep crawling. And I remember I won that meet by half a tenth, and it went down to the last routine. And that's part of the sport, is anything can happen. So you can hear all these people say, you don't have a chance, whatever. You can hear people say, oh, you had a bad first podium day. But what matters is on that day, at that moment, and you fight till the very last end.
Tell me about Dad to Vlad and your training with him and your time with that family and watching his son compete.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Vladimir is... He's another father to me, and his wife is like a mother to me. Like, it is crazy how much they do for me. Like, Arena, she meal preps for me. She brings me tea every morning. She brings me a boiled egg. She brings me, you know, a bag of vegetables, a bag of fruit, and it's like the best fruit I've ever tasted. It's definitely from, you know, Whole Foods or Sprouts. So it's just like fresh, and, you know, it's, you know, she doesn't do that because I asked. She does it because she wants me to feel good. And then they, you know, massage me, or, you know, they'll contact someone that they know to get me cupped or something like that. But Vladimir he's a dad because he's not just a coach, but because he teaches you so many things that you take with you besides being a gymnast. You know, the discipline, being a good person, being respectful, you know, being a man, being a gentleman. You know, Vladimir doesn't want to work with people who aren't kind. You know, he wants his gymnast to be known as kind first and then a gymnast. And I think that is just an amazing view as a coach, because you're not just teaching these guys skills and gymnastics in their sport. You're teaching them, how to become a young adult, how to prepare yourself for the world, how to treat others, how to be respected. So that is just one of the most amazing aspects of Vlad. And, Sasha, he's like a brother to me. I literally walked into this gym to him preparing for Worlds, and then I got to see him grow into the Olympic journey, and that was just so eye-opening. And I got to see him struggle. I got to see him, on his highs and lows, but I remember watching him at the Olympics doing the horse set. Last up, they needed a hit to win a medal, and he destroyed the set. Like, he killed it. I remember jumping up and down on my couch, crying just of joy, because I got to see first person of his training and how hard it was, how many routines he did, how many things he had to push through, the cuts on his wrist, the rips, the soreness, the tiredness, the coming in alone before everyone, and just this whole process that he went through. I got to see it. And I think that's why I had so much emotion, because, when you see a good set, you cheer loud, but for me to cry at 10, I just remember I was like, holy cow, like, he did it. He worked so hard, and it finally paid off. So that was just an experience that I'll never forget.
Let's go. And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes, this is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
Let's go. And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.
Does it ever dawn on you the fact that kids are going to watch you and think the same thing and follow your journey and be inspired by you? I mean, potentially millions of people are watching you.
I honestly haven't thought about it yet. But, the way I look at it is I'm in this gym, and, yes, I can tell that, kids watch me, or they want to come up and ask me questions. And, I just look at it as, what, they're watching me, they're coming out of their way to ask me something. I'm going to go out of my way to help them too. I'm not some superstar. I'm not anyone different from you. Like, we're all just gymnasts here trying to be the best we can. And I think I try and give that to other kids, because, I could, be cocky. I could not talk to them, but I know that that's not what a good person does. So I want to give my time back to them as well.
What do you want to do, though, after all this is done?
So for me, I really want to open up like a fitness center, like not just gymnastics, but like where people can come to me and get fit, because I want to, give people what they want to hear. I want them to be motivated. I want them to wake up every day and have a goal. And when you're goal oriented, I think your life just runs a lot easier. So I feel like for me, fitness is a big part. And I feel like I could help people, get to where they want to be physically and mentally. So for me, I feel like that would be a really cool job. So,
is there anything else you wanted to say or get across or let people know about?
I would just like to say that I'm so blessed to be in the U.S., been given this journey, so I appreciate everyone's support from, my family, of course, all of 5280, all of OU, Vlad, Arena, Sasha, Mark, Steve, Taki, Chris, Josh, Valeria.
Shout outs.
The trainers at OU, my teachers at school, all my friends who've been there from the beginning, So I just want to say thank you to all of them.
Yeah, thank you to you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Highlights for Children is celebrating its 75th anniversary.
And I was so excited to do this story. I sat down with two of the company's leaders who also happen to be descendants of the founders, and they shared a rich history of family, learning, and lots of fun with a purpose.
I think the secret is always to look at the world through the kids' eyes.
If you've ever waited in the doctor's office, chances are you've seen the bright covers of Highlights magazine and the hidden picture puzzles inside. Like this one, where you might find a lollipop, an ice cream cone, even a toothbrush. But Pat Mickelson knows that there's a lot more to the history of her family's business than pictures. What began as a magazine 75 years ago has expanded across multiple platforms to reach more than 10 million young readers in 40 countries.
Can you take me back to the beginning and how it all started?
It started with my grandparents.
Gary Cleveland Myers, a child psychologist, and Caroline Clark Myers, an educator, dreamed of starting a magazine for children.
They really wanted to make something that would be very, very special to help children grow.
So in 1946, they started Highlights in Honesdale, Pennsylvania.
How was it received right off the bat?
Within 2 or 3 months, they had over 5,000 subscribers. That's going door to door to door, because that's the only way that magazines were sold back then.
But that success was not without its setbacks.
They very quickly found out that creating a magazine could be very expensive, and they really needed to find other ways to get that magazine into children's hands. They almost went bankrupt.
In 1950, the 50 cents per issue publication was on the verge of collapse, so Pat's parents decided to join the company and suggest something new.
My parents began to experiment with direct marketing through the mails and through putting it in doctor's offices. Those are the things then that really made Highlights grow.
Then, after 10 successful years, came tragedy in December 1960.
2 planes collided over New York City, and my parents died in that crash.
I mean, how do you move on from that? Not just as a company, but as a family.
Any family that's experienced that kind of tragedy will tell you, you just do. You can continue on with this dream.
Since then, the company has distributed more than 1.3 billion editions, celebrating every anniversary along the way, from their 10th to their 50th and now 75th. And leadership remains in the family. The founder's great-grandson, Kent Johnson, is the current CEO.
We put love into every page to have the greatest possible impact on the kid that's going to receive that magazine. The secret is it's really hard work of people who are professionally dedicated to this idea of helping children become their best selves.
Highlights also aims to represent all children, from those who wear hijabs to those with same-sex parents. And the magazine is acting as an outlet to help kids understand their world.
I remember a story from a couple magazines ago about a little girl who had 2 homes. I've never talked to my son about divorce before. You know, I just haven't had the need to. And his immediate response is, so-and-so in school also has 2 homes. And it just told a story to him that was normalized.
It's through story that we build empathy for the others around us.
Young readers can even send a letter to the staff on any topic that's important to them.
Do they all get read, or is there just a pile of letters somewhere?
From the very beginning, every child's letter has been read. That's over 2.5 million.
Wow.
And counting. Everyone's asleep, thanks to curious kids like my own son, Cal. Oh, we read it. Like, as soon as it comes in the mail, we read it every night at dinner. It just became his favorite thing. So to date, get this, Highlights has hidden more than 2,000 pencils and bananas and toothbrushes across nearly 10,000 hidden picture puzzles. And take a look at this one. They designed a special one just for us. So you want to head to our Instagram page at Third Hour today to see if you can find all of the images inside. I've started to look, and I'm like, I don't see a few. So
in this issue, they've got dad's jokes.
Oh, that's you.
Do you know what dinosaurs used to make hot dogs?
No, what?
Jurassic pork.
But
You got laughter
That's so
from
old,
everyone.
I fell off my dinosaur.
You've got material for
I
days now.
could
Oh my
do
gosh.
I could do a whole magazine of these.
No, to bring this full circle and before we move on, the fact that you read it as a child, for me, it changed my life at my grandpa's doctor's office. For you, and now you're reading it to Calvin. I mean, it just goes to show. Anyway.
It's got staying power.
It is.
All
right.
I could do without the timber toes, though.
Which I loved.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
I'm rolling up my sleeves for science, so I'll survive if I contract this virus. For family dinners, family vacations, family anything. For traveling somewhere beyond my living room. And for the Rebels, there is no greater feeling than being in the stadium and cheering on Ole Miss. And now it's your turn. Roll up your sleeves, America. Plan your vaccine, because every shot counts. Visit planyourvaccine.com and make your plan.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
And when we talk reading, JBH.
Oh, yes.
You got a really inspiring, you got an inspiring story.
I think we got to move back with these kids. We're blocking these kids.
Oh, we shouldn't block them, but I had the best day, y'all. The fraternity brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi are adding some extra classroom time to their already busy college schedules. They travel from all over the country to visit elementary schools like the Promise Academy in Harlem to read to kids and hopefully spark a love of literature. The Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity brothers are hitting the books. Children's books.
The book we're going to read today is Tommy and the Greedy Cat.
The college students spend their spare time leading a hands-on books program at elementary schools and a partnership with nonprofit Room to Read.
It was Tommy, she said.
It's all to promote literacy skills and a lifelong passion for reading.
So who wants to read another book? Okay, good.
35 fraternity chapters aim to reach thousands of students across the nation this year.
You see the smiles on their faces just from taking a few minutes to read a book. And they speak about, how reading used to not be fun and now we can make it fun.
How do you feel about that book?
Great.
In the book's pages, a cultural connection. The African American fraternity shares books written by South African authors.
I think it's really interesting to be able to look and see that students, just like you all, are doing the same thing across the world. They actually show students, specifically students of color, that, you can see yourself in these books and you can have this fairy tale.
It also opens them to like a different culture that they may have not been aware of.
Did y'all have access to books that you could relate to when y'all were growing up?
No, not at all. Not at all, yeah.
Relatable books and relatable role models. Michael, a kid said something to you the first time you participated in this program that really kind of blew you away. What was it?
He had never seen a black man in a suit before. And so to sit down with him and read, it meant a lot to him. He comes from a single parent household, just him and his mom. It just kind of makes me think about when I was younger and I didn't have that father figure or that male figure in my life to kind of read to me or to have that kind of bond.
Growing up, I didn't really get to see a lot of black professionals doing what we're doing. And so I think for us to be able to come into the classroom and kind of show them that regardless of their background, regardless of their race, ethnicity, their socioeconomic status, that they do have an opportunity to go to college. They do have an opportunity to be successful.
The Kappas mainly focus on kids in schools in low-income areas, setting an example they hope will make a difference.
I do a song with them by the rapper Nas. It's called I Can. I know I can.
I know I can.
Be what I want to be. Always believe in yourself, because if you know you can be anything in the world that you want to be. Always remember to read, read, read.
The men sparking a love for reading that continues long after they leave the classroom.
Who here wants to take a book home with you? What struck me the most was how excited they are to be able to actually take the books home with them.
I got 7 books.
It's something you don't always think about.
And it shows you they need books,
They need books, they need books.
That they don't have these books in their home.
Yeah.
So all of these books on your desk, you get to take them home?
Yeah.
They're yours?
Yeah.
Who gave them to you? What about these guys do you think is pretty cool?
They are awesome readers. I thought that reading wasn't really that cool, but when they started reading, it showed me that we can read in many different ways.
Raise your hand if you want to read with them again. That's everybody. What's really cool about it is that you're changing their minds maybe about reading and that it can be cool and fun, but you're also changing their perception on life, on what they can be. What does that feel like?
It makes you speechless because it just kind of comes full circle, especially like when your goal is to be that person that you didn't see growing up. It's a one-of-a-kind experience that you can't take for granted and that you always cherish forever.
We are joined now by some of the Promise Academy second graders. You guys ready? Yeah, this is Kennedy and Mia.
Yeah, so Mia, why do you love reading with those guys?
I love reading with the guys because they inspire me to have better reading, and they...
Okay, we're gonna come out here. She's still talking.
We've got a little surprise for you.
You guys got to take all those books home. Was that cool?
Yes!
Was that really cool?
Yes!
Well, guess what? Do you see what's on this plaza?
Yes!
What is it?
Books!
Y'all, this is a book fair just for you! Go for it!
Do they get to take as many as they want?
Take as many books as you want!
Have at it. Run, grab books. Go.
Go for it!
Go. Be safe. Be careful.
Go for it!
Be careful. We are also joined by some of the brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi. There they are. There they are. Give me names here, gentlemen. What's your name?
Evan Jackson.
Evan Jackson.
Michael Weaver.
Mike Weaver from the story, from JBH's story there. First of all, full disclosure, my uncle, Grand Polmark, long time in Columbia, South Carolina, James Melvin, big KSI member. So I have been familiar with the good works that you guys have been doing for a long time. But this project in particular, how did it come about?
We're good.
Yeah, so we had this really incredible opportunity. We had already been doing our hands-on books program, and we had the opportunity to partner with Room to Read, which was so awesome for us because they're such an established organization that's doing such great work. So it was a great opportunity to merge the two initiatives and do something great for the children.
What are you getting?
And as you look at these boys and girls stuff their bags with books, what are you thinking?
I think it's amazing. There's a quote that says, today readers, tomorrow's leaders. And I truly think that these are the future leaders of America. And with these books, they'll be encouraged and confident and ready to grow and extend their wings and soar high like eagles.
JBH, how are they doing over there?
I'm over here with Kennedy. Kennedy, what do you think? Yeah! We just need one word. But, babe, can you even carry this?
No.
Is it getting too heavy?
Yes.
What do you want to say to these guys?
Thank you!
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep reading. By the way, I think that's your book club pick over there on that shelf. Is that Lupita Nyong'o's book?
Yes, it is.
My
And by the way,
goodness.
Craig, we want to thank all of the publishers who provided all of these awesome books for us. It's pretty great. They're making some kids' days.
Now listen, if you don't have your bag stuffed with books, there's something wrong. Get as many as you can in there, and we'll help you carry them, okay?
Yo.
Kappa Alpha Psi, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well done.
Everybody's got a favorite book from their childhood, sometimes stories of adversity and triumph, trials and tribulations, but the heroes of those stories are often lacking in diversity.
Yeah, it's true. According to a recent study, actually, more children's book features white characters than all other types of visible minorities combined.
That's one reason why Jenna sat down with some really bright young minds to talk about the importance of representation, especially in this particular moment.
Oh my gosh, and by the way, these kids are incredible. We had an eye-opening conversation about how books featuring characters of different skin colors, cultures, and beliefs not only help underrepresented communities feel seen, they can also change attitudes towards them. Our story begins with 3 avid readers.
My name is Riley. I'm 9 years old. I am the founder and CEO of the Brown Bookcase.
My name is Sydney. I'm 14 and I'm the founder and CEO of Books and Bros.
I'm Caitlin. I'm 15 years old and I'm the founder of the book blog Caitlin Altea.
All of these impressive young ones already making their mark in the book world. Caitlin is a popular teen book blogger based in the Philippines who frequently champions and promotes diverse voices online. Sydney's Books and Bros is a subscription-based book company focused on empowering boys and promoting African-American literature. And after struggling to find characters that look like her, Riley opened an independent online bookstore called the Brown Bookcase that curates diverse children's books.
Raise your hand if you've ever had the issue where you couldn't find books with characters that look like you.
I feel like the world is changing, but not enough yet to where I feel like it should be easy for African American boys and girls to find books that represent themselves.
African American children should have books that they're able to relate to as well.
How important is representation? Why does it matter?
Representation for me is very important because if you don't see yourself represented, how are you going to see yourself as a positive figure when you do get to see somebody who looks like you as the main character and the main hero? You kind of feel like empowered, like I can be a superhero too, and that's something that every kid should be able to feel.
Why do you think it's important that we read about other cultures, that I read about other cultures, that you guys read about other cultures?
So we can normalize whiteness not being the default, because when I was younger, I used to think that because I was not white, I was like different. When you read from a perspective that like isn't really yours, you realize that you can still relate to someone who's different from you.
That's how you kind of become ignorant to a culture, is by not understanding it and making false assumptions about it.
To help bridge that understanding gap, I asked these 3 young book experts for a favor: book recommendations for their peers.
My summer pick is I Believe I Can by Grace Byers. I picked that book because it tells a lot about what you can try to do. No dream is too big to accomplish.
My pick is Ghost Boys. Ghost Boys is a book that kind of talks about police brutality. So it's about a 12-year-old boy who was actually shot by the police, and his ghost kind of goes to the police officer's daughter, and they kind of just like talk in a sense. So the story is about their friendship. It's a way of understanding everything in society that's going on right now in a way that's not too harsh on like young readers.
I chose Love from A to Z by S.K. Ali. It's about 2 Muslim teens. One is Zainab, and she recently got suspended by an Islamophobic teacher, and she met a boy named Adam at an airport, and it's about their love story. Even though Zainab faces a lot of microaggressions for being Muslim, she still experiences a lot of joy in her life.
I feel like this is a book club meeting and I'm a teacher again, and I'm having so much fun. You are so inspirational. Every single one of you is. You guys can be my forever kid correspondent.
I know I left that meeting feeling so inspired, so we decided to do a little something about it. I'm excited to announce that all 3 books chosen by our young experts will be our official picks for a very special summer kids edition of Read with Jenna.
So you are starting a book club with them.
Yes, I sure am. So you guys can find them on today.com/readwithjenna and our Read with Jenna Instagram page. They got to choose the first 3 kids picks.
That's cool.
By the way, you're right. You said that you feel hopeful about the future after interviewing those kids. I get it.
And I read those books, guys. And if you're looking at a way to have some diversity in your own bookshelf, it's a great way to start. I know that was a priority for me.
We've always known that representation matters, but to hear them talk about precisely why it matters, like through their eyes, especially that Sydney kid.
Yes, and he great.
Yeah, thank you for that,
Thanks,
JBH.
Jenna.
Thank you, thank you.
And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
it. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
I think pictures are powerful. They are tools used to communicate. And so I feel a responsibility to tell stories that reflect experiences that look like mine, experiences that aren't often seen in picture books. So it's really important for me to create pictures that are empowering to as many different kids as possible. My name is Christian Robinson. I'm an author and illustrator of picture books. I think children are the best audience. They're curious, but they're also very honest, and you kind of have to present things to them in that way. What am I drawing? A tiger! That's right. Okay. It's been a while since I've drawn a tiger, so I might need some help.
Try your best.
That's a good point. You know, I've illustrated many picture books by different authors, but with Matt in particular, our collaboration has been more of a collaboration where we're actually communicating. There's been times when I've worked on books and I've never met the author, never emailed them, but with Matt, we kind of developed a friendship.
I met Christian back in 2014. So Christian and I collaborated on first Last Stop on Market Street, and then our second book together was Carmela Full of Wishes.
His writing gave me a sense of appreciation for my own story. A story like Last Stop on Market Street about a boy and his grandmother riding a bus in the city. That was my experience. And I don't think I even valued or appreciated it or saw it as something worth spotlighting in a story. But Matt did that.
When I got the initial art, I was just so moved by how he fleshed out the story. And I think that's what good artists do. He just wants to put a good book into the hands of young people, and that's his focus. Christian and I, we were on tour for Carmela, and we had a little time to waste away before our event. And so we sat down at a cafe and we started to talk about, what do we want to do next? You know, what do we want to collaborate on next?
I think I mentioned to Matt, like, what if we did a story about a child who has an incarcerated parent and he had a spark in his eye.
I took it as a challenge. How do you write about having an incarcerated parent in a picture book?
He wrote down some notes and then we have Milo Imagines the World. Milo's a young artist. I was a young artist. Milo has a mother who is incarcerated. Growing up, my mother was in prison for most of my childhood. So yeah, Milo's story is my story. Growing up, I was raised by my grandmother. She was my caregiver. She not only took care of me, she took care of my brother, my 2 cousins, my aunt, and we all lived in this tiny 1-bedroom apartment in LA. We didn't have much space or means, and looking back, I recognized that creativity, drawing and making pictures was my way of having some say over my circumstances.
I've had Christian since he was 5 months. Unexpectedly, his father brought him to me.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
He was an infant without any warning, which was a shock. Seeing your mother in an institution and knowing she was in and out of his life from the time he was 5 months old until he was a young man. It was hard for Christian, but he didn't voice his feelings until he grew older, and was able to express.
My relationship with my mother is somewhat distant. Growing up, she was in and out of prison for most of my childhood. She struggles with drug addiction and mental health.
There was no other way it would not have affected him because she wasn't consistent. And the times that she was in his life, she showed him a great deal of love.
I in no way look at her as some kind of antagonist in my story. One of my most favorite memories of my mother growing up was when I was about maybe 7 or 8. She had just gotten out of prison and she reached out to me and said, I would love to spend the day with you, the whole day. What do you want to do? I went with The Lion King because the movie had been out for a while and everyone was talking about it. And I just remember having that connection, making that connection for the first time of like, oh, people who draw make these movies. I like to draw. Maybe I could be someone who draws and makes stories. And I totally credit my mother for giving me that experience and that opportunity.
There was a point in his time when he was involved in modeling clay. I have quite a few little clay figures that he created when he was 8. So that led me to believe, or let me know that he did have more of a bent toward art. He could have turned the fact that his mother wasn't there for him, he could have turned that in destructively, as opposed to being positive and creating a life that he's satisfied with, which I'm very proud.
One thing I really admire about Christian is he's so dedicated to the art of the project. He's not as interested in the business side of it. He doesn't worry about the bestseller lists or what awards a book is getting.
There are not enough books children's books for children of color to connect with.
Our stories matter, especially those that we don't always see. You know, we live in a country with one of the highest incarceration rates in the world. So there are a lot of families that know this experience, and unfortunately, not that many stories that reflect it. So I just hope to let those young people know that their story matters and that it's valuable.
We are exploring one of the nation's newest police academies that is setting out to break a lot of barriers. Craig's in Minneapolis with more on this. Hey, Craig, good morning.
Hey, guys, good to see you. You know, I'd never seen a police academy like this. To your point, though, over the last few years, there really have been widespread protests here in Minneapolis, all over the country, calls to defund the police, waves of early retirements by officers. Stepping into this moment are 9 students graduating today from the police academy at Lincoln University. It's the first ever at a historically black college or university, and the chief who started it says it's an effort to create the change he wants to see. Hands up! Don't shoot! Across the country, voices sharing outrage and frustration in the wake of police violence, calling for a reckoning over how officers protect and serve. One possible solution can be found on a hill overlooking Jefferson City, Missouri. This is Lincoln University, an historically black college founded to educate black veterans of the Civil War.
The history here at Lincoln is so rich.
Yes, sir.
That history inspired Chief Gary Hill
the first officer, and I will
to open the first police academy at an HBCU.
How did this come to be?
So I started calling the contacts that I've made over the last 20 years. People were like, that is a great idea. Why hasn't anyone thought about that?
In a building bearing the address 911 and elsewhere, the students do their coursework. Among them is Andre Jefferson.
You decided to become a police officer around the same time this country was dealing with the murder of George Floyd, the killing of Breonna Taylor. All of that's happening, and meanwhile, Andre decides, you know what? I want to wear the uniform.
Yes, sir.
How did you deal with that?
I can't let that situation stop me. People are, I'm gonna lose friends, I'm gonna lose family. You gotta stand for who you are. Go achieve your goals, be who you are, make something out of yourself, prove people wrong.
The latest research shows 67% of police officers in the United States are white. Just over 12% are black. That closely mirrors the racial makeup of the general population. But recent data shows that 2/3 of large police departments are whiter than the communities they police. Chief Hill says black officers walk a line between their work and their communities. In some ways, that makes them uniquely qualified to do the job.
How is the approach to training at an HBCU, how is it different than it might be at another law enforcement training academy?
Our curriculum is the same curriculum that's taught across the state. So there's really not that much different with the exception of the discussions that we have in class.
They watch videos of recent high-profile episodes, searching for meaning, debating how to do better.
As you hear the students having these discussions, what are you thinking?
Even though the minority of students in this class are white, the majority are black, it's good to see the discussion and the different chain of thoughts that they have. Not everyone sees it the same way.
The day we were there, the students put what they'd learned to the test. Chief Hill set up a mock road rage incident. The students didn't know what they were responding to.
You were speeding through the light. Hey, how y'all doing? I'm Officer Henderson.
It becomes obvious pretty quickly that they are not in the classroom anymore.
Okay, one at a time, sir. No, listen to me.
Andre arrives as backup.
Over here and talk to you. That's ridiculous.
Together, they manage to separate the enraged drivers.
Index, end of scenario.
When it's over, the chief doesn't sugarcoat the criticism.
When we get here and there's chaos going on, what should you have done?
Separate.
Did you do that?
No, sir.
but he also works to build up his students.
Have faith and confidence in yourself, okay? Because when you get out there and you don't have faith and confidence in yourself, they will know that.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Tiaja Fairley is next. She's from East St. Louis and says she'd never seen a black female officer growing up.
Sorry, what's your name?
She kept the fact that she'd entered a police academy a secret from family and friends until recently. During the exercise, she's able to de-escalate the situation.
Can you stay right here? I'm gonna talk to him.
We talked to her afterward.
I feel like it's just learning how to talk to people.
Tiaja now dreams of becoming a homicide detective.
I feel like I could be a role model, kind of. Well, I hope to be a role model because I've never seen nothing like this.
Calm both the parties down.
That's the chief's dream, to put these young people in the driver's seat and guide them to a better future. And here's the thing, all of the students that we talked to who are graduating today, they all have jobs lined up as well. And the chief said that they've also got 13 applicants for the next class. And the response beyond Lincoln has been pretty incredible so far. Departments around the country, they've sent messages of support. Some have even donated gear to the program. The chief has been asked to come to the White House and brief on the program there and how maybe they can take it to scale, guys.
Yeah, it's a brilliant idea. When you see it, you're like, why hasn't that been around for a long, long time?
And what that one female officer said is so important, that if, growing up, seeing police officers who look like you, like all that. I still remember in Queens, growing up, when the first time there was a beat police officer in my neighborhood, it was like, wow, that makes a difference.
Wow.
Make a difference. That was a good story.
Thank you, Craig.
That was terrific.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine. I'm rolling up my sleeves for science, so I'll survive if I contract this virus. For family dinners, family vacations, family anything. For traveling somewhere beyond my living room. And for the Rebels, there is no greater feeling than being in the stadium and cheering on Ole Miss. And now it's your turn. Roll up your sleeves, America. Plan your vaccine, because every shot counts. Visit planyourvaccine.com and make your plan.
Let's go. And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
On June 6th, 17-year-old Eric Lucas led a Black Lives Matter demonstration in Shorewood, Wisconsin. But the peaceful protest took a turn when a white woman spat in Eric's face.
Injustice anywhere is a detriment to justice everywhere. Day in and day out, my hope diminishes. The hope that my people and me, a young black man living in a white America, can one day be equal.
Eric grew up in an abusive home and eventually landed in foster care.
At a young age, I've seen a lot. Had to adapt to a lot, had to learn from a lot, had to grow up and be more mature at a younger age. So I could adapt and continue to move forward.
At age 13, he was placed with the McCorkle family, who later became his guardians, moving him to the suburb of Shorewood, Wisconsin.
Everything changed. My world flipped upside down. I'm coming from poverty and I'm coming from the poor parts of Milwaukee. So I'm in a predominantly white neighborhood with folks that I feel like don't understand me.
Immediately, Eric says he felt out of place in his new school.
The first month of me going to school at Shorewood Intermediate School, a white kid that lived in Shorewood as well told me to get on the bus and ride, catch the city bus back to where I'm from.
In the streets, where's that? We gon' take our feelings back.
But soon, he would find his footing with a group of friends who shared his views.
Some of my best friends that I'm still cool with today, they introduced me to an organization called Urban Underground. And Urban Underground taught me a lot about systemic oppression and how to point out systemic oppression, how to fight systemic oppression.
Through that education, Eric felt compelled to speak out against racial injustice for himself and his community.
I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm tired of seeing other folks that look like me being tired of this, and I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of seeing it on the news. I'm tired of growing up and watching it happen all my life and me still sitting here and not doing anything. I'm tired of being scared. I'm tired of feeling like I have to be the voice for my people.
And as Eric watched the killing of George Floyd, he knew he needed to stand up.
I just thought, okay, what can I do to create a symbol? Not a symbol of peace, not a symbol of equality, but a symbol of tiredness and a symbol of affirmative action, a symbol of fighting back. And I came to the conclusion that it's time to march.
And march he did. On June 6th, Eric organized a peaceful Black Lives Matter protest in Shorewood.
My parents were there as well. I felt empowered. It was exhilarating, seeing the crowd, seeing the people, seeing how we control the crowd and how the crowd listen, and just stepping up to the plate and leading with the folks that I love and that love me back.
But it was overshadowed by this incident that went viral of Eric being spat on by Stephanie Rapkin. She was later arrested and charged with disorderly conduct with a hate crime modifier. She has pled not guilty.
I feel like I got a small piece of the point across. I feel like more often than not, the movement is lost in the assault because more people tend to focus on how I was assaulted and they don't really focus on the great work that we was putting forth.
Despite the setback, Eric is determined to continue on his path.
I'm gonna start us off by saying, hey, I love y'all.
So I think right now, I'm feeling empowered by my people coming here to show out and showing support of me and people that look like us and people that's not of my color to come out and support and show love to us as well. So just revolutionary, angry, motivated. I'm not tired, I'm energized.
That young man is using his voice, Chanel Jones. Started at 15.
Unbelievable. You know, it's so interesting when we started these stories, you know, once we started to see all of these protests, I was talking to our executive producer and we were thinking, you know, who are some of these young people who are out there on the front lines? Black, white, you name it. And can you imagine someone spitting in your kid's face? And he's handling it so gracefully. And one thing this proves is that every person out there has a story.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
I'm rolling up my sleeves for science, so I'll survive if I can track this virus. For family dinners, family vacations, family anything. For traveling somewhere beyond my living room. And for the Rebels, there is no greater feeling than being in the stadium and cheering on Ole Miss. And now it's your turn. Roll up your sleeves, America. Plan your vaccine, because every shot counts. Visit planyourvaccine.com and make your plan.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
when you want to do something, you don't have to think in how old are you. Do it.
94-year-old Angela Alvarez is still living an incredible life, one that's taken her from Camagüey, Cuba, to Baton Rouge, and now Hollywood.
I dance with the broom, and then I put the broom like this, and I make exercise. Then I feel that I could be famous, but my father say no.
For more than 75 years, this great-grandmother has been singing and composing songs. Traditional Cuban music, personal, powerful, and until now, private.
Music is such a big part of our culture, and it was a big part of your family as well.
Nana's been singing to us since we were kids. Every chance she had to grab a guitar, she would sing to us. I began to get curious about these songs that she was singing. Then one day I called her up and I said, I want you to sing me the songs that you composed and what they're about. And she walks out with these notebooks out of her room. There was like more than 40 songs. And these songs were like a diary of her life.
That musical diary, the basis of the new documentary, Miss Angela, narrated by Andy Garcia.
Andy, Angela's story very much is a story of so many Cuban Americans across this country. What was the hook for you that said, I have to do this?
When I heard her music, I was so moved by it. I was moved by her story, and that was it.
Angela's story began as a little girl, growing up in Cuba, writing her songs in secret, eventually getting married and starting a family. But in the 1960s, life took a turn after the Cuban Revolution. She made the painful decision to send her 4 kids to the United States as part of Operation Pedro Pan, the mass exodus of 14,000 unaccompanied Cuban children fleeing communist oppression. Angela eventually left Cuba for the U.S., reuniting with her family after 5 long years of separation.
Was it difficult to make this movie?
No, it was very easy for me because I wanted the people to know what happened.
The anguish she experienced, the love she felt, her life in exile, all of it written down in song, strummed on her guitar.
What do you think it is about Cuban music that almost hypnotizes people?
It's the very heartbeat of who we are, you know. And also for us exiles, it's a little something to ease the pain, you know. Sometimes you can't be where you want to be for many reasons, but you can build your culture and preserve it. And music does that. Music, you know, helps you find solace in the place that you left behind.
And for Angela, the dream that started in Cuba never died.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in finally making a teenage girl's dreams come true.
Angela found her way to the stage, performing at the historic Avalon in Los Angeles, sharing her music for the first time in a major way.
I pinched me many times, Angela, that's true, are you dreaming? And it was a real dream, yes. Made me feel very happy.
Now, Carlos is making sure his grandmother's music and legacy lives on, recording Angela's debut album with a lineup of Grammy Award-winning musicians.
Was it difficult to actually produce an album with your grandmother?
It was probably the most fulfilling and gratifying experience of my life and my career.
So, Angela, what do you think your father and your husband would think that you now have a movie and an album coming out?
Well, if they was here, I know they feel proud of me.
What a voice. And that spotlight is just getting bigger and bigger. Angela just landed a role in the remake of Father of the Bride alongside Andy Garcia. So she's acting a movie now. That film, Miss Angela, is now streaming on iTunes and YouTube. And Angela's debut album is available on all streaming music platforms, so you can buy it. Listen, this was obviously so personal for me because I'm Cuban American. It was amazing to hear her story, and it is a beautiful story. The music is incredible, and you don't have to speak Spanish to just really appreciate that type of music and her story.
Her heart's in it when she's singing it because they came from her heart.
Yeah, and you almost want to translate the lyrics because they're so powerful and personal. It was great. It was a great story to do, and I'm really excited about all the stuff happening to her.
We're Team Angela now.
Yeah, there you go.
Andy Garcia looking pretty darn good.
Yeah. Melvin with the pronouncer. Can I get it one more time?
Angela?
No,
we'll take it.
No.
Suddenly you went to Angela Merkel.
I know.
What I say the first time?
Like a little
What I say the
softer on
first
the
time?
G.
We'll take it, man. We'll take it. You went for it.
G.
So close.
So close.
Good morning, everyone.
everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
I'm rolling up my sleeves for science, so I'll survive if I can track this virus. For family dinners, family vacations, family anything. For traveling somewhere beyond my living room. And for the Rebels, there is no greater feeling than being in the stadium and cheering on Ole Miss. And now it's your turn. Roll up your sleeves, America. Plan your vaccine, because every shot counts. Visit planyourvaccine.com and make your plan.
Let's go. And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
I saw for the first time how there was no power, no agency inside of healthcare and its delivery in this country. That regardless whether you are covered, insured, financially stable or not, regardless, across all races, across all ethnicities, you have no power. I personally suffered at the hand of a system such as this. My name is Jenny Joseph, and I'm a midwife. I was 30. I came to Florida. Within a year of being in the United States, I was newly married and trying to find my way, I was working with an obstetrician. And for my whole adult life at that time, I'd had endometriosis, which is not life-threatening, but certainly miserable. And the physician I worked with started talking to me about certain types of surgeries that he could do. So I spent a full year, really, about 4 different surgeries with him. No real results, except for I felt worse, more pain, etc. Finally went for another opinion, and the other physician said, no, the only answer we have for you is we need to remove your uterus, hysterectomy. I was ready, so I said yes. I didn't ask the right questions. I came out of that surgery not only minus my uterus, but minus my ovaries at 30 years old. And that was one of the most horrific awakenings. This was my sort of welcome to America, and I was very overwhelmed by it. And I really I had a sense of such powerlessness around it. My husband was furious. It impacted our lives in a way that I can't describe. Luckily, I already had a child, but obviously that was it for me. And him, it was done. I couldn't just accept it. I couldn't accept it. It got me up on my feet, and I said, all right, watch me. I'm gonna fix this mess. And I wanted to fix it for myself, but I also felt like a drive to stand for women and literally stand in that gap and say, no, hang on, this isn't right. The vehicle I used was midwifery because I was already there. I was already a midwife. It's going to be 40 years that I've been doing this work. I feel strongly about how we are, as women, treated in a system where we don't know what to ask. We haven't got a voice. We're not heard. Black women especially are not heard. Native women, Hispanic women, Latinas, any woman who is other is not heard. There's been a lot more talk about maternal mortality recently in the United States. I'm here to say that this is not a new crisis. This has been here. It's just never been really taken care of. Maternal mortality is the death of a woman during pregnancy, labor and delivery, or postpartum. Statistically, it seems to fall around 3 to 4 times as many Black women, African American women, are dying in comparison to white women. This is being called this new crisis because now we're talking about it. I am so excited about this panel. It is timely. It is like beginning to see the critical mass beginning around maternal health and maternal mortality issues. So I feel like I can finally, speak to an audience that is particularly trying to hear. Oh, I am so excited that Senator Harris is going to be there, Dr. Taylor, the people that have been on the ground and are moving forward. An opportunity to be able to present alongside of them and to support their work as well as, show and talk about my own work.
It is my great honor to welcome to the podium Senator Kamala Harris. Please give her a warm welcome.
This is one of those truths that must be spoken. This issue of maternal health care, and in particular, how it relates and affects Black women. It is an acknowledgement of the fact that women and babies are dying every day in America, and that we could actually do something to stop it. And so the bill is an acknowledgement of the problem, and that is to acknowledge that within the problem, there is an issue of implicit bias. The other part of it is understanding that in order for this to actually work, there has to be a community approach. It's going to be about saying that let's go to the medical schools and encourage that there will be training there about these issues, which are real issues. These are uncomfortable truths we're speaking, right? Nobody wants to hear or even believe that this is happening, but it is. So let's deal with it. Let's take it on.
If you can't get into care, you can't be helped, you can't be triaged, you can't be supported. So we opened up first with the birthing center, but we've expanded that into clinics for women who don't necessarily want a natural birth or a midwife, who actually just want prenatal care, right? And we've offered that you can get seen regardless of who you are, what you have, which card you're carrying, how much money. None of those things are of any interest to us at the beginning. We found that the easiest approach was to go ahead and say, just come on. You belong, you're pregnant, you're asking to be seen, let's go. From there, we can then help you get on Medicaid quicker because we know how to do it. We found that the women themselves relate better to our staff who are more in tune and more culturally congruent with them than the higher end, high credentialed, very expensive practitioners. So it's a midwifery model, which is a person-centered, family-centered, equity-based model. Our statistics literally eradicated prematurity, low birth weight, and morbidity for the women in our care. The same women that again are populating the statistics that we're talking about today. Saying, yes, please, come on in, sit down, wipe your tears, we're here. Which doesn't actually cost any money. We've found that this works. We have been able to replicate our work. We have studies that have proven our outcomes. And I really encourage all of us to start thinking outside the box. This is a matter of life and death. I don't know what we've got to wait for. But I'm worried about the fact that as this is being presented now, much of it ends up still blaming the woman. Wow, now we've discovered she's just too fat. If she wasn't so fat, she wouldn't have died. Oh, her blood pressure's out of control. If she was getting medical care, she wouldn't have had high blood pressure in the first place. And so in the blaming the woman, we're pinpointing what's wrong, but we're not addressing how it got to be wrong. This isn't a matter of women being non-compliant and don't care about their baby. Many of the studies, research will come up with, oh, well, being Black is a risk factor. No. Racism is a risk factor. The women that come to us come from all points. I've had one woman who came from Georgia every pregnancy. Just had a woman who came in from New York for a consultation. But what's always interesting to me is that postpartum visit, there are tears. There's, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm not coming anymore. Like, I'm going to miss you guys. I find it extremely worrisome that we have this little short window of time, the childbearing year, when we have some influence and connection with the women and their families, and that just as soon as they're finished and moved on, that they're out there in this void. We really haven't solved the problem. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It doesn't cost any money. It's really a shift of minds. It's an agreement that we are here only to center the mother. We're here only to get that full-term healthy baby that she's looking for, we're looking for. We're all on the same page. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to give up. But I feel like I can do what I do, how I do it, in my little corner. But in the meantime, I still believe strongly that it's time to tell the truth. And so I am clear that no matter what, this work is making a difference, and I'm going to keep going.
Hello across the split screen, and happy Monday to all our friends watching your favorite streaming channel and mine today all day.
We are so happy to be with you guys. I'm here in Tokyo for week 2 of the Olympics. Savannah made her way back home to our super cool Olympic Plaza in New York. And you know what you guys are watching? You're watching our digital show. It's called